What is up, my friends? Your weekend has officially started and you are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda. Just a quick one for everybody. There won't be a stream tomorrow night. We'll have two videos out tomorrow, but we have a business meeting tomorrow, so we won't be able to stream. But we will be back at it, of course, on Sunday for the game, which will be starting about 45 minutes before kickoff. So, the big news tonight, just before we went live, is that Liverpool Football Club have announced that they have officially retired the number 20 shirt across all levels of the club in honour of Diogo Jota. Liverpool just announced that one earlier on today. Diogo's wife was at the club today as well, in and around Anfield, so I'm sure they just wanted to make sure that it was okay with the Jota family before proceeding with that announcement. But just to confirm, Liverpool FC will retire the number 20 jersey across all levels of the club in honour and memory of Diogo Jota. And again, I think we can all agree that's the right move from the club and what we expected, to be fair. But like I said, I think with Ruta there today, they just wanted to make sure that it was okay with the family. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have a lovely weekend planned. And again, appreciate you coming in tonight. Lots to go through. We're going to be discussing the Luis Diaz situation, where we had a bit of an exclusive on earlier on. We're going to be talking about Victor Osimhen and his move away from Napoli, which again hit a bit of a stumbling block. Darwin Nunez and his potential move to Napoli. Has that really hit the rocks, or is it just a bit of brinksmanship from Napoli? We'll be talking about Ibrahim Konate as well, and reports in Spain that suggest that he could well be sold this summer by Liverpool. So look, lots to go through over the course of the next however long we're on. But again, appreciate you guys being in. Right, let's start off with, well, a bit of a crazy post from Oddschecker. Well, they're the ones that are posting the information, but Kylian Mbappe is expected to get a higher spot than Mohamed Salah in the final Ballon d'Or rankings. Now, folks, make that make sense to me, please. I don't understand it. A guy that won nothing is going to finish higher above in the Ballon d'Or rankings than Mohamed Salah, who won the Premier League and had a really, really good season. Now, I'm not saying Salah should be winning the Ballon d'Or, but finishing below Mbappe for last season? Really? I just don't see that myself. I think Mo's going to be done dirty there if that's the case. I know, it's nuts. Look, I'm not saying Salah is nailed on to win a Ballon d'Or. I'm not trying to make that argument at all. He should certainly be in the top handful of footballers, but that's absolute nuts if that's the case. Like, whatever about Dembele or whatever, but yeah, I just don't see it myself. David, thank you, mate, for being with us. 16 months as a member, mate. That is incredible. Appreciate your support. Hey, Craig, hope you're well. I want to say a big thank you for checking in on us, RIP Jota. My pleasure as always, David, and thank you, mate, for being with us. And the last day or two, as I mentioned, I've started to kind of feel back to myself a little bit, and you probably noticed that with the demeanour on the streams, but appreciate your support, my man, really do. The Ballon d'Or is just a corrupt trophy. It's nuts, mate. I'll be honest with you, I lost all interest in the Ballon d'Or, really, when I felt Virgil was screwed out of it. I think Virgil van Dijk should have won a Ballon d'Or in the season that he finished, second in it. So I don't get it personally. I don't understand these awards. It certainly does feel like it's not based off any level of reality a lot of the time. Someone said, please put the Jota shirt back in your graphic. I don't know why that was changed. Genuinely have no idea why that was changed. Connor didn't even tell me about it. Let me message him. Just a quick one, buddy. How come the Jota shirts disappeared from the background? Yeah, sorry, I didn't even notice that. Nobody informed me about that one, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. Yeah, just looking at it there when you mentioned it. Should be there, so I'm sure we'll get an answer to that one soon from Mr. Crosby. Right, let's go. Let's talk. Where do we talk? Where do we start this evening? Let's start with a conversation around the latest with Darwin, if that's okay. So there's mixed reports coming out of Italy about Napoli's situation here with Darwin. Some reports said that Antonio Conte dreams of bringing him, and there's only a 5 million difference in the valuations between what Napoli are offering. And yeah, sorry, Connor's refreshing. It should be there. We've no idea why it isn't there. It should be there, and it will be back. Yeah, so one report says they're about 5 million away from the number Liverpool want to get to. But then another report that came out this evening suggested that Napoli are going to move on to the Udinese striker. Now, I think that's a bit of brinksmanship for what it's worth. I do think you're going to see Liverpool and Napoli come closer on a deal, but that's just based off gut feeling. It just would seem wrong if Napoli got to 55 million euro and the number was 60 million euro, and then all of a sudden they change their minds and go and sign the guy from Udinese, who, if they really wanted him, they could have gotten him straight away and not wasted everyone's time. So I think there's still a little bit to go in the Darwin situation. I'm not buying the line coming out of Napoli that they're going to move on to the other target. I don't believe that's the case personally. Latest on Darwin, still crap, said Gary. I mean, hard to disagree. Gary, hard to disagree. So what do we think happens? Do you think that Darwin moves to Napoli? Because it just feels like it would be a good fit. Genuinely, I think the Napoli fans will really take to Darwin. I think a new league, a change of scenery for him might be something interesting. And I just think we will then see Liverpool make our move. And by the way, I've told you I don't know who Liverpool's target is, and I'm standing over that. But it very much feels like it's Hugo Ekitike, based off the reports in the media today. A lot of it is pointing to the fact that Liverpool will move for Ekitike. Let me read through some of the reports for you. So there was this one from Gimme Sport that said Liverpool will open talks with Eintracht Frankfurt over a deal to sign Hugo Ekitike once Darwin Nunez is sold. There was another report as well that said Liverpool had already started some of the conversations. I don't know that to be the case, but it does feel like it's going to be Ekitike at this point. Liverpool not getting any joy or encouragement on the Isak front as of yet, so let's wait and see. But if I was a betting man, I'd be thinking Ekitike is looking the most likely at the minute based off the reports, and there's not really anybody denying these reports either. So I'm not going to be the guy to break the story to you, though. I don't know. I don't know if he's the guy or not, but certainly other people are suggesting he is. Brian said, I think it's nailed. He's off to Napoli. Watch him bang in 30. Do you know what, Brian? It wouldn't surprise me, mate, if he did go over there and start banging in a load of goals, because, you know, that's football. Sometimes it's wrong league, wrong club, wrong style of football. I don't know, but we've seen Antonio Conte before bring in strikers who maybe have been lagging elsewhere and turn them into the guy. So if they do, fair play. We know there's a player in there. Like, there's no denying that Darwin has the ability, but we just didn't see it anywhere near regularly enough. Darwin is leaving. I think so as well. There's been no hint that he stays. Not even from big Darwin fans. Like, there's just nothing to suggest he's saying. Craig, do you think Liverpool will trying to sign Rodrigo or Anthony Gordon? It's a good question. There is a report suggesting we're going to look at Gordon late in the window, but like we mentioned the number yesterday, and it's insanity. It's just absolutely insanity. So, right, we've got a workaround fixed then on the shirt, as you can see in the background. So it is back, and thank you, Connor, for fixing that. Sorry, I've been distracted because there's loads of pop-ups happening around me, messages left, right, and centre. So yeah, we think it's going to be Darwin to Napoli, but let's wait and see. I don't believe for 1 second that Napoli are ready to walk away. I don't. Gordon 55 to 60 max, said Reeds boy. I agree. The 100 million valuation, I don't know who came up with that number, but it's honestly laughable. 100 million for Anthony Gordon. And I'd be somebody, by the way, who thinks Anthony Gordon's a very good player, but not 100 million. That's just insanity. Right, I want to ask you a question, if I might be so bold. That isn't anything to do with Liverpool. Bear with me. It'll become clear in a second. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, do you think that Crystal Palace have been shafted? Because today the decision was that they will be deleted out of the Europa League and put down into the Conference League, with most likely Nottingham Forest taking their place in the Europa League. And I want to know if you agree with me that that's an absolute joke. Because, look, you're going to say maybe the rules are there. But we've seen the Red Bull clubs be able to play in the same competition with basically the same name. Crystal Palace deserve their place in the Europa League. They won an FA Cup and earned the right to be there. And I agree with everyone. I was watching an interview with Steve Parish with Cave Solacol just before I came on. I agree with everything that Steve Parish said. I think as fans of the Premier League, we should be vocal in our support of Crystal Palace here. I often talk about coming together in football. I think this is one of those moments where the Premier League should stand and our fans should stand with Crystal Palace. They deserve to be in that competition. They won the FA Cup, and this rule, again, it feels like UEFA having one rule for smaller clubs and another rule for bigger clubs with a bit more power behind them. And in no way do I feel like John Textor is influencing Crystal Palace or the decisions. I feel like it's an absolute joke and Palace are being shafted and that they should be in the Europa League. That's my take on it anyway. Mutz, no, that one's David first. Sorry, David, how are we, dude? Said, I think we move on from Isak. I think we sign Rodrigo, Ekitike, and Gay. I mean, David, sign me up for that one, bro. If we ended the window with Rodrigo, Ekitike, Mark A, Jeremy Frimpong, Florian Wirtz, and Milos Kerkez, I'm going to say, David, that is without a shadow of a doubt the greatest transfer window that I will have seen from Liverpool Football Club in my lifetime. Yeah, sign me up for that one, David. That would be incredible. Right, Mutt, say what you see. Said, how are you, Craig? And chat, any news? I can hear the wolf tones from my back garden playing in Thomond. Saw them a decade ago in South Court Hotel. I seen them in the Temple Theatre in Dublin when I was probably about 19 or maybe younger, probably about 18. Went to see them. Incredible. And my daughter has since gone to see them all these years later. So yeah, it is crazy that they're still going. Brilliant band. I'd say always go and check them out if you get a chance. And I'm doing good, thank you, mate. I'm doing good. Can't really complain. Daughter picked up her first car today, so I'm a very proud and happy daddy. What was the actual reason why Palace have been moved? So basically it's to do with John Textor having shares in both Crystal Palace and Lyon, although he has no operating influence at Crystal Palace and has since agreed to sell his shares, by the way. It just feels like UEFA again not enforcing rules for some clubs and then enforcing it for another. And I really feel sorry for Palace's fans who, let's be honest, they're a brilliant fan base. Absolutely brilliant fan base. Selhurst Park's always a tough place to go. And most importantly, they won the damn FA Cup and deserve to be there. Wait, Craig, has Palace been removed from the Prem? No. They've been removed from the Europa League and put into the Conference League instead, which I just feel is incredibly unfair. Sheriff Torchwood said, looking forward to watching the friendly game on Sunday. I hope it'll be a great game. It will, mate. It will. It'll be a good game. It'll be an interesting one. And on that, actually, was there something I had on this? 1 second. I have so many notes in today. I'm just trying to remember which ones are in which. It will be a good one. And I've seen the Echo had a page where one of their editors or one of their journalists was trying to figure out a starting 11 for it. And it was quite interesting. They basically had Dominic Szoboszlai as the centre forward. They had Kerkez on the left side, Bradley on the right side. And it was a really strong team, but I have no idea what way Arna's going to go with the starting 11. But it is, it's great to see the lads back, and there is going to be, there's going to be a few bits and pieces happening around the game. So there's going to be "You'll Never Walk Alone" sung before the game. There's going to be some digital condolences put up or posts from people around the world. So if you are headed to the game at Deepdale, they are asking that you make sure you're in your seat for that one at 2:45, just so that they can go through with the all the commemoration of Diogo, and there's going to be a wreath laid as well. So yeah, just going to be an emotional one on Sunday, but just letting you guys know what to expect Also, before we get really stuck into the transfer talk, there's been a few changes to the Champions League that have been confirmed today. So, you remember when we finished top, we felt a little bit hard done by that we ended up with a very difficult pathway through and obviously got beaten by PSG. Well, now, teams that ranked first, second, third, or fourth in the Champions League group stage or the league format will be guaranteed to be at home for both the round of 16 and the quarterfinals, providing that they progress. If they are eliminated, the side that knocks them out will be in the round of 16 will claim the second leg home advantage. Meanwhile, only the teams who finish first or second are guaranteed home advantage in the second leg of the semi-final. So, basically, if Liverpool had this rule, we would have been at home all the way through in the second leg to the final. But look, we were beaten by a better side in Paris Saint-Germain, not trying to rewrite history, but just letting you know about the changes that have been confirmed for the Champions League going on from this season coming up. This one said, Just Henry said, let's get Osimhen instead. I just don't think we're interested in Osimhen, mate. I know we've spoken about it a few times, but there's a report there tonight that said from Fabrizio Romano, Napoli have rejected the formal proposal sent by Galatasaray for Victor Osimhen. Galatasaray offered €70 million with bank documents attached for payment guarantees. Napoli president Aurelio De Laurentiis wants €75 million guaranteed and has rejected the offer. So I don't know if Galatasaray are going to come back on that one or whatever, but certainly don't think we're going to be making a play. I think we would have made the move by now because this has gotten close, the Galatasaray offer. So if we were interested, I think we probably would have declared that interest by now. Do you think we sadly replaced Jota's space? Yes. I know this is a really difficult discussion to have, but we have to look at some of the facts around the situation as well. And yes, we're going to have to bring in a player because, of course, tragically, we lost the player. So, yeah, I don't know who that player is, what this will look like, but yes, mate, I would imagine we would. Brad said we should give them the Community Shield. Well, we're going to play them with the Community Shield anyway. Giving it to them doesn't make any difference because it's not going to get them into a European competition or at Brad. But look, the only thing for the Community Shield for me is the good money that's raised for charitable causes. Mutz, that's so kind of you, mate. Thank you. You said, oh, nice one. Congratulations to your daughter, pal. My nephew has taken up the driving and he's doing really well. He's determined. Wolf Tone's last tour. They're playing again on Sunday and the Script are playing on Saturday. Nice. Yeah, it was such a lovely moment today to go up with my daughter, collecting her first car. As a dad, it was lovely to be able to be part of it. And very proud. She's driving already. Like, she's 21. Where do the years go? So, proud moment today, my man. Thank you. You're so kind. That's an incredibly generous super chat, dude. Thank you. Although I wouldn't mind being in your position either, mate. Sitting in the back garden with the Wolf Tones playing in Toma, then you can hear it. A few cans. Nothing wrong with it. Right, so let's check in on our poll where we said, do you think Palace have been shafted? Some people say no, and I really don't understand why anybody would vote no, because, like I've said, I think by the letter of the law, they should get away with this. It just feels like UEFA are being pedantic for no reason. Look, the simplest way Steve Parish put it was this. How are we saying that a club that finished 6th in the league has had a bigger achievement than a club that won a cup? Like, that's crazy to me. That Lyon get the preference for being 6th in the French league where Crystal Palace went and won a cup. That's a better achievement, surely. It just, whatever way you look at it, it just feels shitty on Crystal Palace. Nick said, what's our affiliation with Preston North End? Shankly. Shankly, mate, used to manage Preston. Buzzing always to see Wirtz kick a ball for us for the first time. Who first taught her to drive? Over here, you have to have 12 lessons with a qualified instructor, mate, before you can apply for your test or take out any insurance or anything. So she did the old driving school. She's done the professional lessons. Would anyone say that Villa had a better season than Palace? No, exactly. Palace won a trophy. Every year, you go out as an English club, let's say, that aren't in Europe, you have a chance to win 3 trophies. The Premier League, the League Cup, and the FA Cup. That's it. And Palace deservedly went and won one of them. What do you think about who's our new number 9? I'm guessing it's looking most like Ekitike based off the reports. Like I told you, I don't know who Liverpool are going to go for, but lots of journalists now starting to write a few bits about Ekitike. So we put out a bit of an exclusive earlier on. I don't know if you've seen it, where I told you that Luis Diaz has had negotiations and contact and talks with Al Nasser. So even Sasha Tavolieri, which kind of did make me chuckle a little bit, said, our friends at Anfield Agenda mentioned it. Al Nasser made an initial approach to gauge Luis Diaz's intentions. No official offer yet, just informal inquiry to see if the Colombian might be interested to play in Saudi. As mentioned Monday, Liverpool want to keep the winger. See, I don't think at this point Liverpool think he'll stay. I think at this point the feeling is that Liverpool will either say to him, you stay and see out your 2 years, or you take this offer from Saudi and move. I don't know what way Diaz is thinking, by the way, but we had it on very good information that he had spoken to them, and I felt comfortable enough to say it. And I don't know if he'll take up the idea to go to El Nasser or not, but he certainly had the conversations with them and listened to what they had to say. So, you know, at that point, I think Barcelona looked like they're moving on to Marcus Rashford. I can't even believe I'm saying that sentence. Bayern Munich looked like they're still taking the piss about the level of offer that they're willing to put forward. And really, at the crux of all of this, I don't think Liverpool want to sell to Bayern Munich or Barcelona, because they don't want to strengthen somebody who's going to be in the Champions League with us. So for me, it feels like Liverpool want Diaz to stay, but if he won't, or angles for move away, or kicks up fuss over the pay or whatever, then it'll be, here's your option. If you want to go to Al Nasser, there's the option. If not, you're staying put. That's genuinely the way I feel this is working out. Alex said, I think Liverpool are planning for Diaz's departure. The Konate to Madrid talks today make me wonder if we're going to negotiate a deal for Rodrigo. So, yeah, I'll be a liar, mate, if I didn't say that's exactly where my mind went as well. So, there's a report coming out of Spain from their biggest radio station in Spain that Ibrahim Konate to Real Madrid is accelerating. They also say that Liverpool are seriously considering selling the defender this summer if he keeps refusing to renew. And I think, again, not knowing what's going through Konate's head, because we don't, the best scenario here for me is to sell him if he isn't going to sign a deal. I've said this all the way through. We'd all love Ibu to stay and agree a new deal at the club, but it doesn't look like at this point that's going to happen. I don't know if it's a very one-sided bit of reporting here from the Spanish side, because there's been lots of different outlets reporting that Konate's given his word, he wants to go to Madrid. If that's the case, then yeah, let's try to figure it out. And if we can work Rodrigo into some negotiation, I mean, I don't think there'd be too many of us unhappy. You don't want to lose Konate. Let's put that out there. We don't, but we are in a situation where if we can't agree, best to get some money. I don't think we can allow him to leave in a year and even try to justify it by saying, what if we win the Champions League by keeping him around? I just don't think it's worth it. I think you have to plan for moving on past him if he won't sign the new deal. That's the way I'd feel about it. Arsenal fans moaning again. I'd seen something, and I'm not on social media, so I didn't see that, but I seen something about a petition. Am I right here? A petition to stop Madueke signing. I mean, I've heard it all now. Genuinely, I've fucking heard it all. A petition to stop Madueke signing. That's a great way to welcome a new player to the club, lads. Well done. I'm sure he's over the moon to know that he'll be joining Mikel Arteta's revolution there. And already we've seen murals defaced of Arteta in and around the Emirates. I don't know what to say anymore. Just when you think that club can't give us any more chuckles or reasons to laugh, there you are. I really cannot imagine, unless Liverpool were employing somebody who we feel wasn't the right character for the club, I can't imagine any world where this conversation would happen around us. It's embarrassing to say the least. So yeah, it's only going to increase the pressure though, because now Arteta has a fan base that was probably somewhat divided on whether he should stay or not. Now he's at a fan base that are somewhat divided on whether they should stay or not, but also don't agree with the signing of Madueke, a large section of them. And now he's going to have to pacify them as well. So I think this deal has just put pressure back on his shoulders. Jaden said, I'd honestly rather have Ekitike than Rodrigo. Why not have both though? Why not have both, Jaden? And I know that sounds fanciful, but hear me out. We need a striker. And if Diaz is going to move on, then we need another player on that side. And yes, there is young Rio coming through. And again, the news today from the club was that Rio will sign his first professional contract next month. This reported by Jack Lusby said Rio is set to sign a new contract with Liverpool next month, which will make him his first professional deal. So, happy days there. But why not have both? Ekitike and Rodrigo, if we lost Darwin and Diaz, is absolutely possible, especially considering what we mentioned earlier on about the Diogo Jota situation as well. I don't see why it wouldn't be possible, because we'd need the personnel. So why not? I know it sounds crazy, but hey, this has been a crazy transfer window for us so far. You know, did I think 6 months ago I'd be sitting here talking about a £116 million Florian Wirtz arriving? Nope. But we did. So who knows? We were told that this was going to be a statement window, one that will set Liverpool up to try to dominate for years to come. And, you know, that's the level we should be operating at. Schmungus said, Real Madrid need to F off. I really don't get the mindset some players have. We won the Premier League. They won nothing. How does that make sense? So, look, every footballer probably has different motivations. So, let's look at it from that angle. So, what we know about Ibrahim Konate is he's a French boy, grew up in Paris. Maybe he likes the idea of the culture in Madrid as a city. I mean, maybe he likes the idea of playing at the Santiago Bernabeu. Maybe he likes the idea of having finished his career and saying, I played for Leipzig, I played for Liverpool, I played for Real Madrid, I played with France. I don't know. Different footballers are motivated by different things. So, looking at Luis Diaz and Al Nassr, well, you might say, why would he go to Al Nassr? But remember, a lot of South American players or players from other parts of the world often come from backgrounds of financial difficulty that lots of us don't really ever experience. And the idea of going over, let's say, and playing a few years in Al Nassr tax-free for a very, very, very substantial wage could set up his family for generations. So I never judge people by what motivates them in football. All I ever ask for as a fan is honesty in these situations. If Diaz was to say, I want out, Al Nassr are offering me, and I'm just throwing this number out there, 500 grand a week tax-free for 4 years. That's a lot of money for future generations of his family. And that obviously came from very humble beginnings. So I'm not going to judge. I just, want the best for our club as well. Dan said, out of curiosity, any Costas transfer news? I haven't seen that new, mate. We were discussing it yesterday, Dan. The last thing I'd seen was some vague interest from Leeds, and that's gone back a bit. So I don't know if Liverpool are wanting to sort out what Andy Robertson is going to do, whether Robbo wants to move on or whether Robbo wants to stay or not. I don't know. It feels like that decision has to be made, and then maybe Liverpool will decide to move on Costas. But I very, very much doubt we're going into next season with 3 left backs. I think 1 will move. Nick said they're just showing frustration at the club for employing Partey in the minds of unforeseen situation. I don't want to come back on and start talking about that situation again, but it is a weird one. Like, Madueke wouldn't be a signing that you think is amazing, but clearly Arteta looks at him and thinks he's an upgrade on Gabriel Martinelli, or he's an upgrade maybe to give cover for the likes of Saka if he needs a rest, because we know he plays him a lot. But all I'm saying is go ahead, make that move, because there's not one as a Liverpool fan that's putting any fear into me whatsoever. Right, so on the Palace thing, we've had about 1,500 votes. 88% of people think that Palace have been shafted. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the other 12 are sticklers for the rules, I don't know. But for me, it just feels like Crystal Palace have been really unlucky. And I hope that they win the repeal. I've always said Martinelli should be a striker for them, so Joshua. I often think back to Jurgen, because Jurgen was an admirer of Gabriel Martinelli, and I remember there was some brief talk about us maybe making a bid for him in the past. What do we think of this, by the way, from Nottingham Forest? Let me read this out to you from Ben Jacobs. More on Morgan Gibbs-White. Nottingham Forest have reported Spurs to the Premier League this afternoon for making an illegal approach and have threatened legal action. Spurs have received communication asking them to cease contact with Gibbs-White. Forest declined to comment, but sources say the club believes Spurs tapped up Gibbs-White and could challenge in the manner which they learned of the £60 million clause in his contract. The Premier League will now investigate to get a clear idea of whether the deal has been messed up or not. What? I mean, look, let's be fucking honest. We know being tapped up in football happens, but Madrid have gotten away with this for a long time. Liverpool got caught out a little bit around Van Dijk, if you remember, at the time, and had to delay signing him till the next window and probably pay a little bit more by way of compensation than they would have initially agreed to pay for Virgil. And I just feel like, again, I don't know, I don't like this stance from Forest's owner, but then again, I don't like Forest's owner one bit either way. And I would imagine that agents can talk to anybody, and agents can inform of bits of information. It just feels very petty here. But then again, you know, we've done it with Luis Suarez. You know, we refused to sell Suarez to Arsenal for £40 million and £1. So it just feels weird. Because like 60 million quid is a pretty penny to get for Gibbs-White as well. And I think it was 60 million and 8 million in add-ons, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So pretty good money. Where was I here? This one. David Sultana said, we've got to be ruthless and get rid of all the players that don't want to be here and get as much money as we can. I agree, David, I agree. And look, I don't want us to be doing business with Real Madrid, but I would rather we do business with Real Madrid and try to include Konate in a deal for Rodrigo if we could figure that out. But what I don't know is, do we have any interest in Rodrigo? I know as a fan I do, but I don't know if the club does or not. I don't know that for a fact, one way or the other. Craig, did you see Arsenal sign Kepa and Norgard? Yeah, and Zubamendi, let's not forget him. And did you see who's replacing Norgard at Brentford? None other than the man who saved football, Mr. Worldwide himself, Jordan Henderson, is going to sign for Brentford on a 2-year contract as Norgard's replacement. A lot of us thought maybe there'd be a chance for him to go to Sunderland, but it was broken today by Romano that Jordan Henderson has completed his medical, signed 2-year deal at Brentford, deal done, and here we go. He's a Christian Norgard's replacement. So there you are. Henderson's master plan to get away from Liverpool really worked out well, didn't it? Really, really worked out well there for Jordan. Got a little few months over in Saudi. Then he ran over and played for Ajax, where he fell out with everybody. And now he's managed to not have the extra year in his contract at Ajax and has run over to Brentford. Really done well there, Jordan, leaving Liverpool. That absolutely was a fucking brilliant decision that you made, mate. Well done. No stupidity in that at all, and it definitely hasn't come back to bite you in the arse. So there we go. Jordan Henderson will be a Brentford player. Funny how life takes these little twists, isn't it? Jordan Lawson said 330k. Congrats, Craig. Love to see it. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Um, yeah, it's mad, man, how far we've come, and appreciate all of your support. Choose your agent wisely, said Super Tiger. Yes, he is represented by Tyler Alexander-Arnold. What's my problem? I don't know. Would you care to elaborate on that, dickhead, or are we just going with what's your problem? I have a lot of problems, mate. Probably some of them you couldn't help me out with, but I'll tell you what. I'll make you as a little problem go away. See how easy it is? A little wave of my magic wand. What's my problem with Henderson? My problem with Henderson is very straightforward, mate. I'll explain it to you and maybe you'll understand my perspective. So Jordan Henderson was looking to stay at Liverpool Football Club, and our manager at the time, Jurgen Norbert Klopp, went to bat with the owners and fought for Henderson to get a deal to stay, which he duly got. Then he came back looking brilliant for pre-season, taking boxing training and all, only to throw his toys out of the pram and demand a move because he wasn't going to be guaranteed to be playing every single week. So then he lied to the world and told everybody that he was going to Saudi to grow the beautiful game, only to find out very quickly that he couldn't cope over in Saudi and needed to run away with his tail between his legs and went back to Ajax. And why did he go back to Ajax and not to the Premier League? I'll tell you the answer to that one. It's because he has to be outside of England for about 2 years before he can come back in and not have to pay all the tax for the few bob he made over in Saudi. That is my problem, pal. That's my problem right there. He absolutely threw Jurgen under a bus. That's my fucking problem. And if, as a Liverpool fan, that doesn't maybe ring a few alarm bells in your mind, then I don't know what to say to you, pal. But the manager went to bat for him, and Mr. Worldwide there ran off with his tail between his legs. So that's my problem with him. Detroit Copite said, my best friend is an Arsenal fan. I remember when I first started following Liverpool 11 years ago, he'd laugh at Liverpool. He's a lot quieter these days. Yeah, he is, but hey ho. Why so bitter? It's very easy, mate. I'm bitter because he lied. He lied through his gritted teeth. Simple as that. Are we not allowed to call people out for being hypocrites, or, you know? As simple as. That's it. Yeah. Very simple. Hendo hate's really uncalled for. Is it though? Is it? Is it? That's before I even got into the allied ship, by the way, and the rainbow armband and all the other stuff that he professed to stand for until money was waved in his fucking face and then he ran off. So, look, I've always said this will be a situation where I'll never deny Henderson as a great captain for our football club, because he was a good leader. But for me, his chapter closed with a very, very sad ending. That's the most politically correct I can be about it. That's the way I feel about it. You either stand for something or you don't. You know, it's very easy, like I keep saying, to get all the praise and be an ally and stand by people when you're getting great PR out of it and loads of money out of it. And then you sell those people down the fucking river to run off to line your own pockets. And you still don't have the balls to stand up and say you're doing it to line your own pockets. That, to me, folks, is a hypocrite. And like I said, I call it as I sees it. Great player for us, great captain, but a hypocrite. Danny said, why do I have Elmo in the background? I explained this the other day, so I'm not going to bore you with it again. It's just a little Elmo. My wife loves Elmo, and Elmo, the character, when we were over on holidays, did a really nice thing for my son, and it really stuck with me, but mostly because my wife's a big Elmo fan. Jurgen told him he wouldn't be getting as much playing time as he was. That's why he went. Yeah. Okay, so you can have your opinion, Wendy, and I respect that. But don't tell me not to get bitter. He's a fucking hypocrite. And that's my opinion. I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm not telling you your opinion isn't valid. I'm just telling you, for me, as a Liverpool fan, Henderson ruined the latter part of his legacy. That's simple as that. Again, all you people in the chat that are trying to be clever and have a pop at me, you're not clever enough. So all players that go to Saudi are bad. Did I ever say that, dickhead? Did any time any words come out of my mouth that said all players that go to Saudi are bad? Did I ever say that? No. So stop trying to put words in my mouth. I said what I've said. He took the good PR. He took all the money that came with an ally, and he was great until money was waved in front of him and he fucked off to Saudi and sold people down the river. That is my opinion. It isn't going to change. You can cry arse about it in the comments as much as you want. I'm fucking entitled to it, and that's my opinion. Simple as that. Now we'll move on. Kelly, how are we? Evening, young Craig. How's my cheeky chappy? I'm very good. Thank you, Kelly. A little bit too warm. But very good. And it's not very often we're going to make that argument here from Ireland, you know, that it's too warm. But today was one of those days, Kelly. It was touch and go a little while today. Hey, Craig. Love the channel. Thank you. And the community. Am I still feeling excited about the rest of the window? Yeah. Look, if I'm looking at the window, David, and the way it's panning out, obviously there was the tragic events with Diogo and his brother Andre, but ultimately we did the early part of the business in the window, and we knew there was going to be a bit of a lull then while we looked to move some players on. And I think the only thing that kind of has me a little bit concerned with the window is what happens at centre-back, you know, because we've sold a centre-back already and we may lose another one in Konate. So I definitely think we need to start looking at that. But I'm not concerned that we don't fulfill the promise that we were showing at the start of the window. I do think we will get back to what we're doing, but obviously totally understand the pause at the moment with the way things are. And what do you guys feel, by the way? Do you think we'll get back in the window? Are you happy enough with the way we're proceeding in it? Like, a few sales will likely happen now. We've always known that before we move for a striker that we were going to have to sell Darwin. So that really hasn't changed anything. If Darwin gets the move, and then we make the play for what seems to be Ekitike. But the centre-back situation is the one for me that gives me the most reason for concern, because I wonder, are we kind of hedging the bets a little bit, unsure what's going to happen? Like, if Konate signed a new contract, do I think Mark Gay would have been the name pushed forward? No, I don't. I think we probably would have looked for the younger centre-back, somebody like a Joel Haddo, maybe the young guy from Italy that we spoke about. But I think the uncertainty about Konate has given Liverpool reason to pause and maybe assess the centre-back market a little bit differently until we know what happens. Now, my concern is that maybe if we don't proceed with Mark Gay and we lose him, I don't know what the outcome will be then. But at the minute, I'm pretty relaxed about it. Understandably, we took time out of the window, said Aaron. Leone Scalvini. No, the youngster I was talking about, mate. Sorry, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Just give me a second and I'll get his name for you. Where was this young lad? Yeah, it was this gentleman. His name is Giovanni Leone, was the guy. There was a report from Alex Crook a few days ago, said Liverpool are showing interest in Giovanni Leone. He's one of Italy's biggest prospects, enjoyed a brilliant debut season, 6'4", 18 years of age. So I believe that the plan was initially to bring in a young defender, somebody around Kwanzaa's age. But as I said, the uncertainty with Konate's situation maybe has given Liverpool a bit of a moment to pause. Has anybody watched that youngster, by the way? Leone, has anybody had a chance to watch him? Is he good? New bid for Osimhen. Oh, I've just seen that, Gary. Thank you, bro. Just seen that. Connor just put it into me. So, this maybe will push us a little bit closer with Darwin. So, Romano said exclusive. Galatasaray submit new proposal after €70 million rejected. The Turkish club now offers €75 million with €40 million immediate payment and €35 million in installments with bank guarantees. Decision up to Napoli again. Like, if they've got to 75 million euro, yes, it might not be in one lump sum, but if the player wants that move as well, surely Napoli are going to have to sell at this point. Chile LFC said, yep, Leone's good. El Harvo said, given the price, has your opinion on a deal for Gordon changed? 100%, El Harvo. Look, I wouldn't mind Anthony Gordon. But if I was to wake up tomorrow and hear that Liverpool were negotiating on a £100 million package for Anthony Gordon, I would think somebody's lost their marbles. Because as much as I think he's a good player, and as I could see a reason why we would look to him from the homegrown aspect, from the fact he's a Liverpool fan, Premier League tested, I'm a buyer if I'm Liverpool at 60. Certainly nowhere near 100. I just think that number's insanity. Eddie said, if Isak comes, I would not be happy with the window. I think you're probably on your own there, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah, I think I respect your opinion, but I would dare to say most of us would probably be thinking the other way. But again, each to their own. Unlike some people in the chat who seem to not like me have an opinion, I'm quite happy to allow others to have one, Eddie, and disagree with you respectfully. How much is Isak? I just don't think he's available at all. I think there's just no desire there to sell from Newcastle, which shouldn't really be a surprise. We were always kind of told that was going to be the case. I mean, the £150 million number was one that I think initially just got thrown out there as a hypothetical and then got ran with. Joy, how are we, sir? Said, hey Craig, hope you and the family are well. Is there any particular things about Osimhen that you don't rate? I think he'd be class at Liverpool. No, there's nothing I can put my finger on. That's the thing. Like, I can understand why people would say Victor Osimhen would be a great signing. I don't know. There's just something for me, mate, that just doesn't make me feel he's the right fit for us. Kind of the other night as well, I was speaking about Harry Kane, kind of saying the same thing. He'd get you goals, but I don't know. It doesn't strike me as a Liverpool type of deal. It just, something about it just doesn't feel that it's one for us. Just got my job application rejected for the 4th time in 3 weeks. I'm sorry to hear that, my man. I hope things change for you and you get some good news soon. It's crazy people think Gordon is worth anywhere near 100 million, 60, 75 max. Wesley, I'm in agreement, mate. I'm right there with you. 60 to 70 is kind of where my head would be at as well. What are your ideal signings for the rest of the window? Are Hadogay, Ekitike and Rodrigo? Oh, sign me up, Archie. Sign me up, bro. If you could get us to a place where we end that window with Joel Haddo, Mark Gay, who else was Ekitike, Rodrigo, Wirtz, Frimpong, and Kirkes, as well as Georgi Mamardashvili coming in, and young Pesci, the goalkeeper. I'd take that. I'd very much take that right now. So in that scenario, I imagine we lose Darwin, Diaz. Unsure again about Chiesa. Still not got anything new that I can add to that conversation around his future. I kind of waiting for Romano, to be honest, on Chiesa, because he'd certainly have a better grasp of the Italian side of football. How much is Rodrigo? So guessing, I think the number being mentioned is roughly 100 million euro, somewhere there or thereabouts. But I think he's worth it if that means anything. I think £85 million or £80 million for Rodrigo is a deal that as a fan I'd be very happy with. Kyle said, we do not have enough attackers. It's very worrying. Certainly understand the concern, mate. We tragically lost Diogo. Darwin looks like he's on his way out the door. Chiesa certainly wants to play more regularly and may move away, and Diaz looks like he could move as well. So yeah, I get it. You could maybe supplement some of it by the likes of a Danns or a young Rio, but still you're going to want the here and now players as well. So I totally understand it. For me, if we ended the window with attacking options of something like this, Salah, Ekitike, Rodrigo, young Rio, Jaden Danns, Cody Gakpo. I mean, I'm very, very happy with that, to be honest with you, as well as obviously Wirtz, Soboslai. I think, and then I don't know what happens with Ben Doak either. You know, we haven't even had much of a chance to talk about him. Could you do me a favour? So Dave Stinson, I don't know if he's been spamming it, but he just said, "I hope Darwin stays." Please don't remove that comment. Dave's more than entitled to his opinion. Like, I don't agree with people that want Darwin to stay, but they're very much entitled to their comments and their beliefs. You know, we just don't have to take down posts we don't agree with. You know, let's engage with people, and there was certainly nothing disrespectful or abusive about that post. It seemed like somebody that wanted Darwin to stay. And there are people that do want Darwin to stay. I see it in the comments on the videos all the time. And whilst I very much disagree with those people, I respect that they have a right to have that opinion. What happened to Ben Doak? Said, peace. So he went out on loan to Middlesbrough and then had an injury at the latter part of the season. So after that, I have no idea what the plan is going to be for Ben Doak. You know, I've been honest and said when I was speaking maybe 7-8 months ago, I remember speaking with David Lynch and we were talking behind the scenes before we went live on something, and we kind of both had the same intuition that it looked like the plan was for Doak to be sold. Again, though, like, I understand anybody saying, well, what about the AFCON? What about Salah? But unless something's changed, the plan that I'm aware of would for him to be sold. Darwin said we don't need a striker if we play Wirtz with a false nine. And I guess that's some of the problems that we have as fans, right? Right now, we don't know how Arna views the setup next season. So do we end up playing a 4-2-2-2? Do we end up sticking with a 4-3-3? Do we end up going the Paris Saint-Germain route of having somebody through the middle that might not necessarily be seen as an out-and-out striker? Somebody like a Rodrigo, or, you know, like we played with Lucho at times this season through the centre. I think all of those suggestions have credibility to them. And I certainly won't be shouting down anybody for their opinion of it, but I think the truth is we just don't know. We just don't know what Arna plans to do. But whatever the plans are, because of the tragic events with Diogo and Darwin being sold, I would feel it would be remiss of us not to bring in a central striker. Not necessarily saying it has to be the Alexander Isaks of this world, but I think you'd be foolish not to have one. One who's thought of as an out-and-out striker. Yes, we've got young Danns, but again, there's no guarantees that he might not have a back injury or something again, so we can't go into the season planning for that. That has to be seen as like a bonus in my mind if Danns comes good. Craig, Craig? I don't even know my own name now. Craig, why do you think no one has gone for Angelo Stiller? Don't know. I'd seen another story today suggesting that Real Madrid were interested in Alexis McAllister, but one, the price is hilarious. So it says Real Madrid like Alexis McAllister, but he would cost in excess of €100 million. You bet your arse he would. He would cost in excess of, I would dare say at this point, €150 million. I view Alexis McAllister as £110 to £120 million midfielder. Hand on heart. If you're telling me that Enzo and Caicedo are 100 million plus midfielders, Rice is 100 million plus midfielder, McAllister, in my mind, is 100 million plus midfielder because he is as good, if not better, than all of those names. So, yeah. And we got him for, what, 38 or something because of the clause? An incredible piece of business by us. And very, very happy that we have Alexis McAllister in the squad. Heck said he's one of the best midfielders in the world. Joshua says we've got a lot of creativity, but we got the finishers? This one from Mahmood. How are we, my man? Excuse me. Hope we're well, Mahmood, and thank you. You said, I will give Maka a new contract before Real Madrid comes sniffing again. I don't want us to be their feeder club. So I'm going to be honest here, right? And say, I do think Alexis McAllister plays in Spain in his career. And it could well be at Real Madrid. But that shouldn't happen for at least 3 more years, in my opinion. And I think this because he's almost intimated that he likes the idea of it. And like I said, lots of players manage their careers in a way where maybe they want to try a few different leagues. And as long as this was done in a way that Liverpool knew the possibility was coming down the line and we got decent money for the player at the time, there'd be no hate from me on it. Because like I said, all I ever ask for from players as a fan is honesty. And if the answer is not one that I want to hear, I'll respect it if it's an honest answer. And if, players do want to try other things, as long as they don't try and worm their way out like Trent did to get out on a free, then no problem. But not yet. Not for another 3 years minimum. He's got unfinished business with us. He's a Champions League to be winning. Colin said, I'll pay 85 million for Gordon. Rate him high. I just thought... it just feels excessive, Colin, for a player who was rotated quite a bit with Harvey Barnes at the end of the season at Newcastle. But Newcastle, to be fair, did pay a fairly high fee when they brought in Anthony Gordon. I just think 60 to 70 is a more realistic number. But again, respect your opinion. Unknown user 786 said, hope Maka stays. I think after Virgil captain there, if that's being on, I think as well. I agree. Sorry, did I not put a poll up? I swear I put a poll up on something. Must have forgot to put it up. I agree. Maka for me would be an excellent vice captain. He is a leader on the pitch. I'm a huge fan of Alexis McAllister. Liam, how are we, sir? Over in Canada. Appreciate you, my man. So, given the circumstances, this pre-season is massive for Danns. Aside from new signings, most exciting to see in pre-season. Have a good feeling. So, I'm really excited to see how Stefan comes back and what he looks like in pre-season, Liam. Like you've said, I've no doubts about Jaden Danns' ability. It's just a matter of he didn't get much football last year, and this is going to be a very important year in his development. And I think the most important thing this season for Danns will be regular minutes. And I don't know if we can guarantee him that yet. So I feel in an ideal scenario, he gets the full pre-season with us and maybe a late loan move, unless Liverpool come unstuck in the transfer market and we need an extra body around. But ideally, I think a loan for Danns. Maybe even to Sunderland, the club he was supposed to join. Maybe go up there and play in the Premier League with them. Certainly give us a good indication. And look, we all have high hopes for Jaden. Travis said, I think Jaden Danns really needs a better chance. I don't think it's a lack of opportunities that have stopped him so far. I think it's unfortunate that he's had that. I don't know if it's a growing pains thing. I don't understand the intricacies of the back injury, but it's just been unlucky. And, we've seen it with Stefan as well. Steven Gerrard, even back in the day, had a similar kind of growth spurt problem. So, as these guys get into their adult male bodies, sometimes some players develop quickly, some players take a little bit longer. So I think we're all optimistic for him, but it would just feel like a risk pinning our hopes on a young striker who's had very little experience at the top level and a history of some injuries in recent times. I think you'd have to look at it as a bonus rather than the solution. Danns needs to stay. We won't have 6 forwards this season, so good games he'll play. But is that enough for him? For his development? That's, I totally get where you're coming from. But if you look at why the likes of Bajcetic was loaned out, it was to show that his body can cope with the rigours of playing every single week. and that needs to be found out with Jaden Danns as well. So while I totally get where you're coming from around the amount of players that we'd have at our disposal in attack, is playing, let's say, once every couple of months or a few minutes at the end of a game going to be enough to let us know? Probably not. Lack of Levi says Konate for Rodrigo and maybe some money. Maybe some money, I would say. For me, so let's say Rodrigo's valued at £85 million, which is roughly €100 million, and we value Konate at, I believe Liverpool value him somewhere between 40 and 50. Real Madrid's valuation of Konate will no doubt be probably something like 20, 25 because they'll play the whole 1 year to go malarkey. So I would say if you could do a deal, 45-ish on top of Konate, I'd think that 40 would be ideal, but 45-ish and getting a valuation of him about 35, I think would be great for me as a fan. But ultimately, I'll be honest with you, if that deal happened, I probably wouldn't give a shit about the numbers involved in it because it would be getting rid of the headache of a player who may not want to stay at the club and could walk out for free in a year's time. So it would remove the headache and bring in a good player as well. So, yeah, I don't really think I'd mind too much as long as we went out there and brought in two centre-backs, quick, smart. Nathan S, absolute legend, mate. Thanks for the kind words. Triller X said Giovanni Leone is a great young player. I would get him. Appreciate your input, sir. Thank you. Certainly one to keep an eye on. As I said, there was one report on it. I don't know how serious that report was or wasn't, but again, when I see young players, 6'4", good breakthrough season, that kind of makes me feel like, okay, this could be the type of lad we look at. Craig, do you still believe Isak might happen? I gotta say, man, I'm at less than 5% at this point. There just doesn't seem to be any indication that it's possible, and I think we've got to look after getting rid of Darwin, and then just make the play because Arne will want the striker in as quickly as possible, and I would suggest that it'll become very clear quickly if I would say that we won't even sell Darwin until we know we have our mind made up. Like, we'll agree the deal, but I would say while that's being negotiated, Liverpool are then on the side making the plan of, right, this will happen and then we immediately go for this. So I would expect one in, one out to kind of become clear very quickly. Jex said, good afternoon from Canada. How are we, my friend? Welcome in. What's your thoughts on Jones taking on a bigger role? What's your thoughts on the centre-back that comes in to replace Kwanzaa? I love the show here in Canada. So I'll be honest, mate. Curtis Jones, I think, came off the back of a good season. Arne certainly seems to trust them, and I think that's deserved. Give Curtis his credit. He's shown in Arne Slot's style of football, it suits him a bit more. So him having a bigger role or being utilised, I have no problem with. His work rate is really good. The centre-back situation, the replacement for Kwanzaa, I think ideally it would have been your Jarell Haddo type, but I think the uncertainty around Ibrahim Konate has kind of got Liverpool in this kind of halfway house situation with Mark Gay, who would be, 24, so still not old, but experienced enough that you would say he could be that leader alongside Van Dijk. So that makes a lot of sense to me. But in an ideal world, if I woke up tomorrow morning and I heard that Liverpool had signed Ibrahim Konate to a new 4-year deal, then I'd feel we're going to look for that younger defender. I think it's even been briefed in the media that the plan initially was to bring in somebody around the profile of Jarell Kwanzaa. But I don't know why it is at the minute because of the uncertainty around Konate. Crimson Heart said, hey Craig, just joined. Have you addressed Liverpool retiring number 20? I did, sir, yeah. It broke just as we were starting to go live. I'll read it out exactly as it's being posted. Liverpool FC will retire the number 20 jersey across all levels of the club in honour and memory of Diogo Jota, which is the right thing to do. Now, I think Diogo's wife was at Anfield today to obviously see the flowers and the respect and the outpouring of love for the family. And I would imagine that Liverpool spoke then just to make sure that the family were okay with this, because, you know, one thing Liverpool have been brilliant at, and I commend them entirely, is being a class act in this situation and being courteous and thoughtful. So I would imagine that they wanted to get the family's blessing before doing it, and hence the way we have it now. And again, full credit to our club for the way that they've handled this whole tragedy. It's, you know, I'm incredibly proud as a Liverpool fan of the club. You know, whatever faults I may have or you may have with them over other different things, they always get these big things right, and full respect to the club for that. Where was I? I think I was at this one. Konate for Rodrigo, maybe some money. I've done that one, sorry. Too much change to win next year's league. RIP Jota. I don't think so, mate. I mean, let's look at the soul of the team right now, right? So we've still got Alisson, we've still got Virgil. We've either got, let's say, Konate and Gomez, or Gay and Konate, or Gay and Virgil. So we've got left back, we've improved in. That was an area last season, let's be honest, we needed to. And if Robbo stays around, happy days. Right side, we've got Frimpong and Bradley. Moving to midfield, we've only increased in there. So you've now got Ryan Gravenberch, Alexis McAllister, Curtis Jones, Dominic Soboslai, Florian Wirtz, Stefan Bajcetic, Wataru Endo, and still Harvey Elliott. So up top, Salah on the right. We've still got Gakpo for the left. At the moment, we still have Diaz. If he moves on, we'll get a replacement. I don't see the argument for too much change yet. A lot of the fringe players weren't, like, let's talk Chiesa, got no minutes last year. Elliott, limited minutes. So I'm not at that point yet of talking about too much change, because I think the spine of the team is still intact. I'm grateful for being part of this community. Oh, Keane, thank you, mate. Look, it's an honour for me to lead this community. I say it all the time. It is, you know, we don't always agree, and we won't, and people won't always agree with what I have to say, but if you are respectful, like I try to be when I disagree with people as well, you're all welcome in, and my voice is no more or less important than anybody else's. So yeah, appreciate you, man, and all of you sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for building this community with us. Craig, Chinese or Indian? So I'll answer Chinese because I'm a culinary coward. That's the way I like to say it, Luke. And I haven't really tried much Indian food. So I would say Chinese, but because of my very pathetic palate is probably the right answer there. Tyler said, Craig, love you, man. It was great meeting you at one of your shows. Oh, thank you, Tyler. And thank you for coming out as well. I love meeting you guys when we're out and about. Always. Even if we... Look, I love that people try to be respectful, but if you see me out and you want to come up and say hello, even if I'm with the fam, come up. You're all welcome to come up and say hello. It's a pleasure getting to say thank you in person to you guys for your support. Petter, how are we, my Chelsea supporting friend? Will you do a Club World Cup final watch along? No. And what we're going to do actually on Sunday, because we're not streaming tomorrow night, we have a meeting, so we're going to go out for a bite to eat and talk some company stuff. So we won't be streaming tomorrow night. And on Sunday, we will do the game, obviously our game, earlier on in the day. And then I will stream after the Club World Cup final. So I'll probably stream at about 9:45 again. So no, mate, I won't be doing it because we'll have our game earlier on that day as well. So the voice probably wouldn't last 2 watch-alongs. He says, knowing that he has to do back-to-back watch-alongs as well, coming up in a while when we have those 2 games against Athletic Club. Can we have a poll on what we think Gordon is worth? Absolutely, no problem. Good idea, Paul. Let me get that one sorted out for you, sir. Can I say I love you all, by the way? Because I do. Truly, I do. Every night I come on here, I just feel a love and a connection and a good vibe that just, it makes me so proud. It makes me so proud. It's kind of like feeling the pride I feel with my kids. It just, this has turned into more than I ever hoped. Right, so what is Anthony Gordon really worth? Right, so let's start. What will be okay, we have to go with this. So, yeah. Okay. This one. Add another one. Okay. Right, so this is what I've said. How much is Anthony Gordon really worth? 50 to 60 million, 60 to 70 million, 70 to 80 million, or above 80 million? Because my brain won't let me write 100 million down. It just won't. And by the way, I seen as I was writing that out, loads of lovely words in the chat from the likes of Simon and John and others as well. Much love to you all. Thank you for your continued support. Mark said, we love this community. Absolutely do, sir. Absolutely do. Martin Lawrence, I convinced myself, by the way, mate, even though you're in Euro there, that you're the Martin Lawrence comedian actor. I like to think that way, you know, when you're tuning in. I don't get players wanting to leave this current Liverpool setup to go to basket case that Real Madrid is right now. As a Liverpool fan, sir, I agree with you. And I think things are about to get a bit nasty at Real Madrid as well, because the fans are starting to get really outspoken in their unhappiness around Kylian Mbappe. Casey Maxwell said, are you worried about Wirtz' strength and stature in the Prem? No, not at all. Like, look at Coutinho's build and size. Some players are able to play with a slight frame and still see the game a little bit quicker than others. And from everything I've read and the few bits I've seen, obviously, of Wirtz, you look at him and you think he kind of, like a lot of the great players, almost sees things before they happen or knows what he's going to do before he receives the ball. And I think that talent will shine through. Lolly, how are we, dude? And thank you for being with us as a member for 3 months, mate. Said, let's focus on first choices only. I'm back. That should be the plan. Definitely, first choices was supposed to be the plan for this window. I agree. And to be fair, so far so good. Michael, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. 23 months as well with us as a member, man. Thank you. So we're going to record the first episode of the Anfield Agenda podcast, the new podcast with myself, Chris Stonage and Steve Bland. We're going to record that on Monday evening, and the members will get it first in the membership part of our channel. And then on Tuesday, it'll be out on YouTube and on all platforms. We're going to do one podcast, then we're going to have a break of a few weeks. We just wanted to try this one out and get the format down. And then from August on, it'll be a once a week thing. Really excited about it and can't wait to get cracking. João Neves is small as well. Yeah, as is Vitinha. And look at him. What a midfielder he is. Craig, I just saw something saying Chelsea want to forfeit the Club World Cup final. Is that true? I doubt it. Yeah, why would you go all the way to the final and then not want to play? Yeah, I would be amazed if that was the case. With Madrid signing tactics, should we give longer contracts to players? I definitely think, George, or Jorge, I'm not sure which way to pronounce it. I definitely think it is going to see a change in football, all right, where clubs, either the contracts start to get a bit longer or the negotiating starts further out. And if you get to the 2-year mark and you haven't got an agreement, then maybe you look to a sale at that point. But something has to be done, mate, because what's happening here sucks, right? We've seen Trent go out, and now they're looking to do Konate with the same thing. So something has to happen, right? Something has to happen. Craig, how much does an agent earn when a player extends his contract opposed when a player moves clubs? So the truth is I don't know the exact answer, and I don't know if there is a one-size-fits-all answer. Usually you're talking a percentage of the player's salary, and the players signing on bonuses and stuff would be, given to the representative as well. We've seen agents, the likes of Mina Raiola back in the day with Pogba and stuff, make extortionate amounts. I mean, I want to say Raiola got like 30 or 40 million or something with that Pogba. Like, it was something ludicrous with the Pogba deal. So I don't know if there is a one-size-fits-all thing. I think it might be dependent on the size of the move, the caliber of the agent, the relationship the agent has with the clubs. And I just don't like the powers agents have in the game. I really just don't like it one bit. Some agents want to keep players moving every few years to keep that money coming in. And I guess it's like anything else. There's some agents who you think are great, some agents who you think are slime balls, and then some in the middle. Would I take Pogba? No, I wouldn't like cheats at my club. Thank you. And I know, look, he served his ban, so he's fully entitled to come back and play football, but no, not for me. That, and he's not very good. Aaron said, I think it's 3% max the player's salary. I don't think that's the case at all. I think an agent would get minimum 10 to 15% of a player's salary personally. But they all make too much money for my liking at the top level of the game. David McGettigan, thank you, mate. Appreciate your kind words there. If we can pay 100 million plus for Italy, offer Konate and pay 100 million on top for Mbappe. Mbappe can, honestly, I say this wholeheartedly, I would not want Kylian Mbappe at Liverpool Football Club. He is a headache that isn't worth having for the talent that he undoubtedly has. Not a chance, lads. No. And I know that sounds crazy, because we're talking about one of the most gifted footballers on the planet, but I dare say a lot of people would agree with me that they wouldn't want Mbappe at the club, because it's a circus. It's just a circus that we could do without. Hey Craig, you wouldn't know this, but whilst I was struggling in life, your streams and positive attitude helped me. Forever grateful. Oh, that is incredibly humbling to hear, mate. But I've always said the same thing. I've struggled in my life in front of this camera at times as well. And you guys rallied around me, and I feel it's my duty to do the same and to try and be as good an influence and as good as a, don't like the term role model, but as good as a leader of this community as I can be. And I'm very, very, very touched by that lovely sentiment, mate, and I hope that things are better for you at the minute. Detroit Cop Bite, much love, bro. Same with you as well. It's lovely to see you all every night and get to know you bit by bit. Right, let's check in on our poll. We were asking on the valuation, so if you haven't voted on this one, folks, please do. What is Anthony Gordon really worth is the question. Because of this mad 100 million quid valuation, we asked, what's he really worth? We gave you 4 options: 50 million to 60 million, 60 million to 70 million, 70 million to 80 million, and above above 80 million pound. Mbappe deserved to PSG as Trent deserved to Liverpool. Simple. Yeah, the irony though, Wayno, that PSG then went and won the Champions League when they got rid of all the Galacticos, and they got hard work and humble, quality players, and they deservedly went out and won the Champions League this year. The irony of that, having gotten rid of Neymar, Messi, Mbappe, it's just, I think it's a win for football when these things happen. And again, I think it's shown that Liverpool's direction that they're going in and the way that we want to do things is a similar thing. Young, hungry players who, are selfless in their work on the pitch and their sacrifice of hard work for each other. It's a machine that PSG team has assembled, and I have to say I completely underestimated them before we played them, but it didn't take me long to realise that I'd underestimated them. Right, so I'm going to fly through all the news that I have from start to finish really quickly. But before I do, I just want to read out Andrew's comment. Just wondering why people rate Gordon so highly. I really don't think he's that good. He played for Everton. Honestly think Rodrigo is the option for Diaz. I think every one of us, Andrew, would agree with you that if it was an option between Anthony Gordon and Rodrigo Goes, we'd have Rodrigo. But what Anthony Gordon has for him is a couple of things. He is homegrown. He is still at a young age. He has been Premier League tried and tested. He supports Liverpool, and we know that there is an admiration from both sides. That is the argument I see for Anthony Gordon. And I think he's not finished. I think Arno would look at him and believe that he could bring him on further as a player. But if it was a choice between the two of them, I think every one of us is going for Rodrigo. But we have to keep an eye on the overseas places in the squad as well. So Anthony Gordon fits into the homegrown quota, and that that would help out a bit. Right, let's get cracking through the news. So we've already done the Henderson thing, but just in case you missed it, Romano said Jordan Henderson has completed his medical and signed a 2-year deal at Brentford. Deal done, and here we go. Henderson signs to replace Christian Norgard, and medical now completed. Next up, there was Anfield Buzz reported from @Mark Bruss to say Napoli are expected to be making a new offer for Darwin Nunez. The Italian champions are expected to bid in excess of €60 million. And I think you're getting to the realms of that deal maybe getting done if you come with a €60 million offer. Then we had Ben Jacobs' report on Forest reporting Spurs to the Premier League over the pursuit of Morgan Gibbs-White. They believe he was tapped up, and that's the only reason that Spurs learned of the release clause in his contract. Then we had Jack Lusby, who said Rio Numoha, excuse my pronunciation again, is set to sign a new contract with Liverpool next month, which will mark his first professional contract. Then there was Bild in Germany, who said Stuttgart have rejected an offer of €40 million plus €5 million in add-ons from Bayern Munich for Nick Vultmada. Next one up was Give Me Sport, saying Liverpool will open talks with Eintracht Frankfurt over a deal to sign Hugo Ekitike once Darwin Nunez is sold. This one comes from Corriere dello Sport in Italy, and it said Napoli and Antonio Conte dream of bringing Darwin Nunez to Italy and hope to reach an agreement with Liverpool soon. They've tabled a €55 million, including bonuses, offer, but Liverpool want €60 million in order to complete the transfer. Then Sami Mokbel of the BBC broke the story that Crystal Palace won't be playing in the Europa League next season, that they will play in the Conference League as things stand. Then there was a report Anfield Buzz posted to say Real Madrid like Alexis McAllister, but he would cost in excess of €100 million, and the club isn't willing to do so. Back to Florian Plettenberg and Sky Sports Germany, who said FC Bayern are prepared to offer Luis Diaz a contract until 2029 or 2030. Diaz remains willing to leave Liverpool if a suitable offer arrives and is aware of concrete interest from Bayern. At present, however, there is no agreement between Bayern and Diaz and no concrete negotiations between Bayern and Liverpool. And then he went on to say, despite the rejected approaches, Diaz is still considered a potential candidate for sale. Liverpool are said to be expecting €70 to €80 million, depending on the buyer. Then there was the story that Kylian Mbappe is expected to get a higher spot than Mohamed Salah in the final Ballon d'Or rankings, which I think is a disgrace. Then A report from a Spanish radio station, I believe the most prominent radio station in Spain, said Ibrahim Konate to Real Madrid is accelerating. Liverpool are seriously considering selling the defender this summer if he keeps refusing to renew. Then we spoke about the Champions League and the change to the seedings. Teams ranked 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th are guaranteed to be at home for the round of 16 in the quarter-finals. Meanwhile, only the teams who finish 1st or 2nd are guaranteed home advantage in the second leg of the semi-finals, provided they get there. Next up, we had some stories around the situation with Victor Osimhen, but we'll move on to the latest one on that in a second. Sky Sports believe Barcelona have pivoted to Manchester United's Marcus Rashford instead of Luis Diaz. Then we had Liverpool announcing that they will retire the number 20 jersey across all levels of the club in honour and memory of Diogo Jota. Sasha Cavalieri said, our friends at Anfield Agenda mentioned it. Al Nassr made an initial approach to gauge Luis Diaz's influence and intentions. No official offer, just an informal inquiry to see if the Colombian might be interested to play in Saudi. As mentioned on Monday, Liverpool want to keep their talented player. Then we had Romano saying Galatasaray submit new proposal to Napoli for Victor Osimhen after €70 million rejected. The Turkish club now offers €75 million with €40 million immediate payment and €35 million in instalments. That's pretty much where we're at with the news for now. Right, let's keep going. This one, thank you, mate. Put a comment in, but appreciate you. Then we had this one from Danny. Said, Craig, why do you think Irish football is so bad? All we need is one superstar to rejuvenate us, Gareth Bale style, for Wales. So do you mean the national team or the League of Ireland? The old problem with the League of Ireland was, of course, that any talented players went across the water to England. But now that Brexit has happened, young players can't go over to English academies now because they have to be 18. So you've seen a lot of Irish players now start to move to Italy and a few other places. But the national team thing, well, that's a bigger conversation for a longer time. Right, folks, I need your help. We are 292 likes short of 1,000. If you can hit that like button for me, be hugely appreciated. So we've nearly had 1,200 votes. We'll leave the Anthony Gordon go a little bit longer, but we're asking you for your evaluation of Anthony Gordon. What do you think he's really worth? 50 to 60 million, 60 to 70 million, 70 to 80 million, or above 80 million? So I get the feeling that we will potentially see a breakthrough in the Darwin to Napoli story soon. But there are reports in Italy, like I mentioned, to say that they are looking at the Udinese striker and they might pull the trigger on that deal next week. I don't know if this is brinksmanship or whatever. So anything Liverpool are saying, it looks like Wirtz will be wearing 59 and Kirk has 57 for pre-season. As I mentioned, I think you're going to have to see August 1st and the release of the new Adidas kits before we see the players' real squad numbers for next season. Lexington said Madrid need Konate now. Well, then they're going to have to pony up, aren't they? And the 17 to 21 million pound that was mentioned the other day won't get it done. See, I think the trick here is we don't know definitively if Liverpool really have an interest in Rodrigo or not. We all hope that we do. Well, I think most of us probably hope that we do. But if we don't, will Madrid put up the amount for Konate that Liverpool would be happy with? Will Crystal Palace drop the £50 million valuation on Mark Gay down to something closer to 40? Both clubs at the minute, Liverpool and Palace, seem to be valuing their players at £50 million with a year to go. Mark Gay, 50 million, Konate, 50 million. And honestly, with 1 year to go on both their deals, I think they're both 10 million overpriced. But let's wait and see how it pans out. I don't know what the plan is for Madrid. I don't know if they come forward with an offer or if they are going to dig their heels in and try to get him on a free. The numbers they were in pre-season on Sunday will be the numbers they have for the season. So you think that we're going to see Florian Wirtz wear the number 59 for Liverpool and Kirkes 57. I would bet my left nut that that's not going to be the case. Who do you think will win the Ballon d'Or compared to who should win it? I've no idea. I don't think there's a real standout candidate for the Ballon d'Or this year. I think there's a load of very good players in that PSG team that deserve a show. Rafinha probably deserves a show. Salah deserves a show, but I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea who wins it, and yeah, I don't know. Honestly, Dembele's had a good season, but I don't mind. I don't mind who wins it, and honestly, it's very unlikely to be Mohamed Salah, but let's wait and see. Could mean the Kirk has to be 27 versus 29. Well, we don't have too long to wait. I think 3 weeks' time and we'll know the numbers. Why not the right one? I don't know. It's a good question. Well, I don't know. And I'm left-handed, so that doesn't make any sense. Jen said, I think 50 million for Gordon is a stretch, to be honest. He's decent. Well, they paid more than that for him. So they're not going to take a loss on Anthony Gordon if they sell him. But we are closing in. We need about 140 more votes and only 116 likes, by the way, to go. So do hit that like button. So far, I think I could probably end it because it's pretty clear the number that you guys think, which is 50 to 60 million. You guys think is Anthony Gordon's value. 63% said 50 to 60 million. Second place was 60 to 70 million with 30%, and then the other two were just not really worth talking about. I would be in the 60 to 70 million bracket, knowing what they paid for him as well, but I totally understand why people would say 50 to 60 as well. I just don't think that would be a number that would be of any interest to Newcastle. Yes, but Craig, they overpaid to Everton. Yeah. No denying that, but I just think, look, obviously if he came in, I'd want us to get him for the cheapest price possible as a Liverpool fan. If I heard Liverpool got him for 50 million quid, I'd be delighted that they only paid the 50 million quid. I guess a lot of people who put lowest think he's worth lower. I think 60 to 70 because I think that's realistic. Yeah, I mean, if I was to say what I think bluntly is his real valuation, taken out the context of what they paid for him, I think you're right with the answer. 50 to 60, I think, is probably the right answer. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. If PSG win the Club World Cup, then they have won a quad, so I think Dembele will get it. He's on 45 goals or something now. No problem if Dembele gets it either. It's just, Vitinha's had a great season there. Obviously, Kvaratskhelia, for different reasons, has had a good season. He's won 2 league titles in one season, which is incredible. Donnarumma has had a good season. So, you can look at that team and say, yeah, there's lots of really good players. Ruiz has had a very good season in midfield. Mendes has had a very good season. So, it's just a really good team with lots of good players in it. What did we pay for Konate? Lee, I'm going off memory here, bro. I want to say 38 or 40 million, but 38 is a number in my head for some reason. But, Hakimi, yeah, as well. Just a team with really, really good players in, and Hakimi's had a great season. He loves getting on. He loves scoring as well, Hakimi, doesn't he? He pops up with a fair amount of goals. Ruiz won the Euros as well. Yeah, it's just a team that have done very well this season, and you look around it and there ain't many weaknesses in that starting 11. So we've got people saying 36, 38 and a half and 40. So somewhere between 36 and 40, let's say, for Konate. So, yeah, if you were to get your money back with 1 year to go, that wouldn't be too shabby either. Abdullah said, I also think 60 to 70 mostly because of his age and his current market conditions. So if he wasn't homegrown, like let's say he was French or German, I'd say 40 million for Anthony Gordon. I'd say you get 10 million for being homegrown minimum, probably. I'd give it to Gravenberch, said Mart. The Ballon d'Or? Surely not, mate. I mean, he's had a good season, but not a Ballon d'Or winner one. Andrew said, if we win against Crystal Palace and Spurs, we've won 6 trophies, sextuple. If PSG win against Chelsea, sorry, I read that wrong, Andrew, my apologies. He said, if PSG win against Chelsea, they'll have 6 trophies. It's incredible, isn't it? And yeah, just a really good team. It must be very difficult to look at that now and think, how do we go into the market and improve that team? Because it's still pretty young as well. Any news on the vice captain? No, not that I'm aware of. I'm sure we'll get that announcement in due course. 70 likes to go. We've got about 10 minutes left in the stream. 70 likes to go. Let's get that one up. And again, if you want to join our WhatsApp channel, this one. That one. If you want to join our WhatsApp channel, scan that QR code. It'll bring you straight there. We'll be putting the quickest updates that we can, news stories that we find breaking, some funny and interesting bits and pieces as well. Right, let's keep going. They need to replace Marquinhos. He's getting old. Yeah, they do. I'm surprised they didn't look for Konate because, you know, he's a French boy as well, a Parisian. So I'm surprised that Paris Saint-Germain haven't maybe tried to come in and tempt Ibu with a move. Vice captain will probably be Mo, but I would be giving it to Maka. So for me, yeah, Maka as well. It doesn't really matter because you look at the team and we should have a whole group of leaders there, and we do between Robbo, Maka, Alisson, Virgil, Mo. There's just experience in abundance there. Soboslai. Zabarani from Bournemouth to replace Ibu. Well, didn't PSG try to sign him, if I'm remembering earlier in the window correctly? I think they made an offer for him from Bournemouth, and I think it was rejected, if I'm remembering correctly. Abdullah said, Chiesa can play anywhere in the front line. Rio can still play, and obviously he ain't playing every single game. I think the problem with Chiesa is going to be the same problem. Can Arne Slot say to him, you're going to get 30 games this season, 35 games this season, and will that be enough to get you into the thinking of Gattuso, the new Italian manager? I think ideally the Italian coach would like him back in Italy, and that I think is the most likely outcome, although it's been really, really quiet. Is there any way we could look at Murillo? I rate him highly. Didn't he sign a new contract at Forest last season? I think he did. I think I have a memory of him signing a new contract. And if he did, I think it would be difficult to go in, especially if they're going to end up taking Crystal Palace's place in the Europa League. And I think you're talking a really big number to get him, like above 80. Michael said, this channel helped us so much in hard times. So glad I will be in the live show at Liverpool. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's awesome. You're coming from Cyprus. Oh, dude, please do let me know who you are when you come up and say hello and let me know you came from Cyprus, mate. That's awesome. That is awesome. I can't wait. Last ever stage show. Tickets are on sale right now. I think we've done about 40% of the tickets already, and it's not till October. So yeah, can't wait. It's going to be brilliant. Terry, much love. Thank you. Appreciate you. David said, best LFC fan channel by a mile. Thank you, mate. Look, I've always said this. I think as Liverpool fans, we have loads of great options. Loads of great options of fan content, whether it's the Coppish Boys, Anfield Rap, Redmen TV, ourselves. I think there's something for everybody there. And again, not to leave out loads of others. You know, there's loads of great aggregator accounts like Anfield Sector, there's Anfield Watch, there's obviously Osimhen. There's loads of great Liverpool content out there. There's Husam, just loads. You know, something for everybody. And for us to be thought of so highly means a lot to us, and we really respect your support and appreciate it. Who's my favourite player? Are we talking about right now or ever? So my favourite footballer ever is Maradona, followed by Messi. My favourite Liverpool players ever, Robbie Fowler, followed by Steven Gerrard. My favourite player right now, probably Alisson. As a former goalkeeper myself, I absolutely idolise Alisson. I think he's incredible. But when Bobby was here, yeah, Bobby was my guy. I was a huge Bobby Firmino fan. Paul Bayman said, I heard Giovanni Leone is an interest to Liverpool. Spot on, mate. We talked about him the other night. Is he at Parma? 18-year-old centre-back, 6'4", and certainly has been linked a little bit, yeah. Andy Partridge said, I have to give credit to Neil Atkinson from the Anfield Rap for his words on LFC TV tribute to Jota. Looked like it was a real struggle, but he spoke well of him. I think the Anfield Rap lads are brilliant, mate. And Neil Atkinson, John Gibbons, all of them. I've always said it. They don't seem to like me very much and want to have anything to do with us when we reach out, but I have nothing but respect for the work that they do. I had a subscription to their podcast that I paid money for every month, and I thought it was great money well spent. Nothing but respect from my side towards them. And they are, I've said this before, I think they are the greatest collaboration of fans of any channel in any club. I think what they do is incredible. And I think they're what's possible if everything goes right and you take your chances. And I've nothing but respect for them. They're incredible. I haven't actually seen Neil's words on Diogo, but I've no doubt that they were sincere, and I've no doubt that they were heartfelt and well spoken. El Harvo said, if you had to rank our current links from most to least likely, how would you rank them? I think I would put Ekitike as the favourite for the striker. I'm really unsure about Mark Gay. I hope we signed him, but I would say surely that has to be a realistic one. Not sure around the wide forward position. And truth be told, I wouldn't like to sit here and say I think Rodrigo's the favourite, because I don't know for certain that we're interested in Rodrigo. So yeah, I think Ekitike, and who knows? Like, will it be Malik Fofana if we lose Diaz, or do we bring in a Malik Fofana anyway? I'm so uncertain about the front line and what way we move. I wouldn't even have a favourite really outside of the later reports around Ekitike. Adam said, Craig, my friend and I hope family are well. They're good, thank you, dude. We picked up my daughter's first car today, and it was a very proud day for us as parents. What do you think our net spend will be at the end of the window? Good question. What's the current net spend on Meter? Give me 1 sec. What have I got out here? 152. I think we're probably finished with a net spend of somewhere between 150 and 200 million, but we will have recouped about 150 upwards, maybe to 200 million in sales, depending on what happens with Konate and Diaz. So Yeah, I think we'll probably be somewhere between 150 and 200 million net, which is a pretty significant outlay. But ultimately, for me, um, it'll be again come down to have we improved all around, and do we have less gaps in the squad than last season? And so far, so good. I mean, to say otherwise would just be silly. Mark said there is loads, Craig, but Anfield Agenda is number one. Thank you, mate. You don't have any idea how proud I am as a guy from Ireland, um, that doesn't even live in the UK, to be the most watched Liverpool fan channel on the planet. It's absolutely astounds me, and I'm incredibly proud that we're here, and I will continue to try my very best to make everybody proud. Are you thinking of going to Bilbao game in August at Anfield? Good chance to see all the new signings. No, I'm going, Andrew. I've got tickets to go and see the United game in October. I've got an incredible 2 weeks. I'm in Turkey on a vacation for 11 nights, and I come home and I'm straight over to Anfield for a couple of nights, and we're going to see the United game. I can't wait for that. It's been on my bucket list my entire life, and somebody was able to grab me a ticket. So, yeah, really excited. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to go and record the late night update video, but I want to just remind you, tomorrow there is no live stream tomorrow night because we're out for a company meeting, but we will be back on Sunday, obviously, for the game. We'll be starting from 2:15. We'll have a couple of videos out tomorrow as well. Corbin said, if Ibu leaves, which two centre-backs would you like? Mark Gay and Jarell Haddo, or Jarell Haddo and... Um, do you know what? I could probably list you 10 centre backs that I'd like, mate. But Mark Gay and Jarell Haddo would make sense to me as two options if Ibu left, because I think you get your young centre back in then, and you're ready for the here and now centre back. Right, folks. Much love. Enjoy your weekends. Don't forget to put sun cream on and hydrate yourselves if you're out in the sun. And I will see you guys on Sunday for the watch along. We'll be starting about 2:15 in what's going to be obviously a very emotionally charged afternoon for us all. Stay safe. Much love, my friends, and we'll talk soon. Take care.